Access 2016, Module 5, Part 10. In this one, we're going to be using our last query wizard. This is the Find Unmatched. And similarly to the Find Duplicates, you're not necessarily looking for errors. Maybe we're trying to clean up our files, and we've got certain people who have called in, and they maybe have scheduled an appointment, so we added them to our database. But then they never showed up, and they never called back. So there's no visit associated with those individuals. So maybe we're trying to go through and identify who those are so that we can delete those people from our database. So let's take a look at how this unmatched wizard would work. So again, this is a query wizard. So you're going to go to the Create tab and choose Query Wizard. This is our last of the wizards. So you're going to choose the Find Unmatched and click OK. So we've already talked about this with our other wizards, but you can begin your query with either a table or a query. And you want to be careful if you begin with queries, as we're going to right now, because you want to make sure that if you are expecting 100% of your records to be included, then you want to make sure that your query you're using is not restricting the number of the records that are being included. So we are going to choose the query that is animals and owners. Then it wants to know what you're comparing that to, and we are going to compare that to the visit table. This is the screen where sometimes students will make a mistake. What you have to do is you have to find the common field. So right now, animal ID is selected and visit ID is selected. Those are not the common fields, so you can't continue yet. What you need to do is you need to find animal ID on the query and then animal ID in the visit table. That is your common field. Once you have them both highlighted, you're going to hit the button in the middle that says animal ID is the same thing as animal ID, and it's pulling them from each of your query and table. It's also important to remember that the names do not have to be the same. If I called it the animal ID in the query, but in the table it was called the animal number, even though that would make it more confusing, it's easier to understand if the names are consistent throughout your database. They do not have to be. They just have to contain the same information. So again, you want to click on the fields and then click the button in between. If you needed to change it, you just click on them again. It's not going to tell you if they're not the same. You have to know. Then we'll click Next. And now it wants to know what fields do we want to see in our query results. So we can go ahead and insert all of them. And then we're going to give it a name. So we're going to say this is query inactive animals. And click finish. And so it shows you that we have 2 animal IDs with owners that we have never treated. They've never had an appointment. So again, if you are looking at that query wizard, we'll start it up again just to review. I'm going to start with my query and use animal and owners and compare that to the visit table. This is the screen where students sometimes have trouble. You need to make sure you click on the same field in both columns before you click the middle button. I'm going to cancel this, and that concludes working with our Find Unmatched query.